What is going on, everyone? Trust the Buzz here. If you're new to the channel, I make Charlotte Hornets content, so if that interests you, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. If you cannot tell by the thumbnail title of this video, in today's video, we're going to be talking about some second round guys that I personally like, specifically for the Charlotte Hornets. If we were just talking I have a bad thing with like the draft, is that I always want to see players succeed. And so I like a lot of people, but I had to be really hard on myself to make sure I get a really defined list of players that I personally like, specifically for the Hornets and what they can do. And we're going to talk about each and every one of them. I'm not going to really get, maybe I will get into like some stats and stuff. In fact, let's just go ahead and do that. Let's just go ahead and do that just for the sake of conversation, because I really would just want to talk about more so what these guys do, but I think it helps to paint the picture. So we'll start off with Rasheer Fleming. Rasheer Fleming is someone who I personally had ranked in the top 30. I felt as though he could have went definitely at 29 when we chose Liam McNeely. But I can understand the value in getting McNeely for someone, watching his high school film and all these things. He dealt with injury. He was playing out of position kind of at UConn, but it allowed him to be on the ball a little more. So that's something that he really didn't have before. So I think there's maybe a skill there that could be developed, but we'll see. Either way, Rasheer Fleming, I think he's a good guy. I think he's a good guy for us to get. He has some size. I think he's like 6'7", or 6'9". Okay, excuse me. But he's 6'9". I think he plays good defense. He moves off the ball well. One thing I will say that's something that's not looked at a lot, that's not going to be like thought to win games, is his ability to screen. I think for Rasheer Fleming, his ability to screen is what's going to open up a lot of looks for us. That's something we didn't have in the past, and it's something we desperately need going forward for our system. If you're going to get McNeely and Knipple, then you need guys to help them get open, because I think Kamal Malawach was one of the best screen setters in the draft. You add Cooper Flagg to that, you add Gillis to that, you add all these guys. They even use Tyrese Proctor sometimes at Duke to get him open. We need that. You can't have a 3-point system and just, okay, ISO, everybody's ISOing. Even from LaMelo to Brandon, they all not necessarily need it to score, but that's what opens up the flow of this offense, or the flow of this system. And so I think him being that is something that's going to be really good for us. Pick and pop threat, of course. As I mentioned, plays good defense. He struggles a little bit at the rim. He doesn't finish as high as you would want him to, but overall, 15 points a game, 9 rebounds, 1 assist, 1.4 steals, 1.5 blocks per game. And I would even say with the assist, he has a high feel. He's not necessarily like have the ball in his hands all the time and then like dishing it. So that's why his assist numbers are relatively low, as you could see. But I think he's a smart passer. He makes smart passes. He's just not necessarily always in a position, especially at St. Joseph, to really show that. I wouldn't expect to, have him have lead ball handling time like I expect Khan or even McNeely in some cases. He's just more of like a true connector, but I think it's a skill of his that's underrated. So I really like Rasheer Fleming for that. Ryan Kalkbrenner, as I pulled him up, I'm surprised he didn't come out last year. I thought he would have been a really good pick last year, but he stayed another year, and I don't know. This is probably where I would have had him close to, 34, 35. Going into last season's draft. So I don't know if he really changed exactly his draft stock, but I think if anything, you can now look at the film and look at his body of work, which 4-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year, 3-time All Big East, 3-time All Big East tournament. I think you have like a good collection of data and film to understand what he can do. And, being a drop coverage big, he's able to flirt with the 3 a little bit. You just need to be dangerous. For a center, you don't need to hit even 40%. Just give me 31. Someone has to go out there. And if they don't, you could possibly catch him off guard. A free, 6 points a night, 9 points a night, possibly. If you go 3 for 5 or 3 for 6, and you don't have to, obviously he wouldn't do that every night, but still, the threat of him being this 3-point shooter, he only took 2 a game last year, I think is there. But that's not really why you draft him. As far 3-point shooting wise, you really draft Ryan Kalkbrenner for the defense. Like I mentioned, he's a good drop coverage center. He amazing shot blocker, as you could tell, with 2.7. He had 3.1 the year before, 2.1 the year before that, and 2.6 before that. And in 14 minutes a game, he had 1 block a game. So high level rim protector. He's not quick. He's not as fast as you would really want him to be. I think that we would be inviting again how we got killed by 5 out when we had Nick Richards and Mark Williams on the court. and how they would just get destroyed. But Grant alleviated a lot of that. I know, he's injured and we don't know if he'll come back, but, you pair, Rasheer Fleming, Miles Bridges, TJ Shalon. I think that you have like the roster to eventually combat the 5 out. Like I said, he's not going to save it all together, but at the same time, I think that he's good enough to where you could place him out on the perimeter. Obviously, I wouldn't put him on anyone that can handle the ball really well, but he's good enough. It's just I wouldn't trust him out there, and I wouldn't expect him to get killed the way Mark and Nick Richards were, because I feel like Ryan Kalkbrenner, he's more so going to stay where he's at. I think they were focused on more trying to get back. Ryan Kalkbrenner, as you can see, he's not like he's not this elite rebounder. I mean, he's a great rebounder, but he's not an elite rebounder. Like, as you can see, this led his conference to 8.7. So good, but it's not like he's this unstoppable rebounder. And, the way we rebound by team, if we have Miles, Tajon, Tajon's a good rebounder. Khan's a good rebounder. McNeely's a good rebounder. Like, all these guys, I think it allows Kalkbrenner to not, use the fluidity he does have in his lateral movement to kind of stay out there and rely on everybody else to get the board. Maxime Renaud. What I like about Maxime Renaud is that he can put the ball on the floor, man. And with the way the NBA is going today, I mean, I'll take it. I know he might not be your natural big. I think you run into like this weird 7-foot power forward thing, but we're seeing double bigs back now, so maybe that's something you can mess around with there. But he can put the ball on the floor. He's pretty quick. See 10.6 rebounds. He's a really, really good passer. I feel like I really like that skill from him. It's not like he's Jokic. I feel like you say big man pass, people think Jokic, Vlade Divac. I don't even think he's on those, no, he's not on Jokic's level. Don't even think he's on Vlade Divac's level, who Vlade Divac, if you all know for sure, was probably Jokic before Jokic in terms of the big that can pass the ball. What everybody, says about Jokic now, that's what they were saying about Vlade back then. So I wouldn't say he's that, but he's a very smart passer, kick it to the open guy, things like that. He's not the rim protector that I believe that Kalkbrenner is, but he's a lot more fluid. So I think in those 5-out scenarios, you do have a little more, bit more of, usage out of Renaud, even though I think his defense needs a little tinkering. I feel like Kalkbrenner, he's almost as solid as they come when it comes to being a defender, being a big defender. So it's just a matter of what you want. It's a matter of exactly what you want. This is my thing. With Kalkbrenner, I could let it ride for a little bit and we can see how it goes. With Maxime Renaud, I still personally would love to see him with a veteran big and then kind of have Musa be like this all around, workhorse big, but then you have Maxime Renaud to kind of switch things up and definitely help offensively. That's what you're getting Maxime Renaud for. 35% from 3. He is quick. He has a little bit of juice when he handles the ball. There's some stuff here with Maxime Renaud. So I really like him as well. He's more going to be on the offensive side, and I need kind of a pairing with a vet, solid rim protecting big. But he has a little bit of that. I think he's just a very skilled player, and in today's NBA, you need skill, and I'm willing to see where that takes us. So Maxime Renaud definitely somebody we should look at. Adel Thiero, and I could be butchering his name, but what I see from him is just athlete. Went to Kentucky. And then when John Calipari went from Kentucky to Arkansas, Adel Thiero followed him, and he had his best season. Yeah, obviously a junior, 55% field goal percentage, but shot poorly from 3, shot poorly from the free throw line. But like I said, it's just athlete with him. I think you need to refine kind of what he does. And I personally don't know what his true role is, but the athleticism here is literally off the charts. And I think that you can almost mold him into be really whatever you want him to be. He's seen as a big guard. So being able to have that next to Khan, next to Brandon, in those guys to play defense, because like I said, Khan's a solid defender. I know Brandon Miller could be a good defender. We saw that in his rookie season, not so much his second year, but his rookie season, I thought Brandon Miller was a pretty good defender. You had Thiero on that and have him be this Alex Caruso in transition, trying to make big plays and stuff like that type of defender and then just add a little bit of shooting. If he can go back to even close to, these freshman season numbers, I think you're okay with that. So only shooting, roughly barely 2 a game, but shooting 26% is not good. If he can get that to like 33, and then considering what he can bring athletically, because I think the athleticism will translate. He has the size, he has the frame. It's just a matter of getting that skill there. That this is the type of player where we have, to develop. We have the development team. Why not do it? So I like Adou Thiero. I think he could be really good for us. And like I said, they could really mold him into anything. He's just a raw athlete, but a good one. And I think that there's levels to what you can help him become. I just personally don't really know. I like that Alex Caruso defender type. I wouldn't say Dyson Daniels, but he has like his size. I'll see if I can find a better comparison. This is why I don't like comparing players, but I try to do so to get perspective. But yeah, I think he can just be your big body, solid, really good defender on the perimeter, and then a transition player. That's what I like for him, and I think they can do that. Sion James from Duke. I like him as well. 34 might be a little high, like 33, 34 might be a little high, but he did some stuff on ball, 3-point shooter, the definition of 3-and-D. And I like that. I like that. He can be our Ryan Nembhard. And I'm just naming, of course, the teams in the finals, but he can be those type of guys. I just like it. I just like the fit. We need a guard. We need a point of attack defender, and I think he could be that. And then while providing, 3-point shooting, it doesn't have to be this 41%. Would I love it? Of course, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the 41%. It could be this 38%. It could, okay, maybe not the 33, but the 38%, 35%, like somewhere along those lines. There was times where he could play make as well. You see in limited minutes going down, like his assist numbers went up. He played 10 minutes less, but his assist numbers went up because he was playing with a better team. And I think that's kind of where he's going to get his opportunity, is just by being with. Not to say the Hornets are such a talented team, but being with a talented player like LaMelo, Khan, you can throw in, Brandon, you can throw in, and those guys to move the ball, score, and he kind of just set them up and then play defense. Like that's really all he's going to do. Like he's not going to be your absolutely ball handler, but he can do that in spaces. I think that's one thing I feel like is sneakily something the Hornets are trying to get is. Everybody has a feel for the ball in some capacity. And so that's why I really wouldn't be surprised if we picked Maxime Renaud over someone like Ryan Kalkbrenner, who, yeah, he may be the better, defensive center, which, I feel as though we need that. But right now it looks like they're trying to get everybody that has a little bit of something with the handles, with the playmaking and things like that. So that's why I feel as though you would lean Maxime Renaud in that situation. But yeah, Sion James, I think is a good player. Javon Small. Javon Small is from West Virginia, and he's a really stout defender. He has some good shot creation ability as well. You see that he was the main force at West Virginia, but I think he's a really good player. He's a stout defender, just relentless on defense, but has a little bit of shot creativity. Play makes very well. He's someone where I personally think Sion James is better. But I could, even though I said Sion James maybe not is the best pick at 34, he still wouldn't be a bad pick, but he's not the best pick of 34. Javon Small may be ranked a little lower, but I think I would want Javon Small over Sion James. I really don't know how to make sense of it. It's more so just not to necessarily use him as a scorer, but that's one of his traits, as opposed to Sion, that's not really one of his things. So, if you want to go with the guy that can supposedly score and play defense and play make, I feel like at the next level, one of those things will stick. As opposed to Sion, it's kind of nothing really jumps out, and it's kind of, you know what he is. He can really excel in that, and that all what he does is very helpful for the team, but if Javon Small can get two to three things right, it just opens up so much more. So I think that's something to look at. I really like his game. I really, really enjoy his game. And then we got Noah Penda. I don't even know if I can find anything on Noah Penda, but basically Noah Penda is this all around forward, guard, wing. I really don't know how to explain it, but he is just all around. He does everything. I think the shooting obviously needs to be worked on, but considering we got Khan and McNeely, I'm a little more willing to get someone that may not be able to shoot in the second round, at least with one of the picks, as long as they provide other upside. And I think Noah Penda has that. He's raw to some extent. I think people are going to see him and think Tijon Salam, but to me, he's a little more refined. He needs to work on his game, of course. Every player does, but at least I feel like he has a feel. Nothing he's done, nothing you could teach him is something he may not have heard, seen, done before. It's just more so situationally when to do it, understanding how the NBA works, and understanding, I think that transition is going to be what hinders him. But with Tijon, it just feels like a lot is just so new to him. Noah Penda, he just has a bag, and not necessarily a Kyrie bag or anything like that. We're not talking dribbling, or I'm more so just talking about he just has a lot of basketball moves offensively. Defensively, I like what I see from him, in terms of effort, and I think that he has some switchability. I think Noah Penda is a pretty good player. I will look him up just so you can see him. I don't even know if I can find stats, but yeah, he's a pretty good player. I would play highlights, but you know how YouTube gets. Oh, okay, we're able to find some numbers, so you can see he's just a very solid dude. Of course, 3-point shooting needs to go up, but everything just looks so fluid. He's a fun guy. He's 6'6", so he's like a forward. I just really like Noah Penda. I think he could be big for us. Look at the steals, look at the playmaking, the rebounding. I don't know. I like him. I've heard that he could possibly be this draft and stash guy. That would be my reason to not draft him. It's not even to say that we don't have success with draft and stash guys because James Nazi's situation. It's just more so I feel a little more urgent, if that makes any sense, about what we're trying to do. I still feel really high about what we did with Khan and McNeely in terms of I feel like those are win now picks. You don't make those picks to not win. And I've mentioned this in another video, and I'll keep mentioning it probably for the rest of the summer. You don't make those draft picks and then go out and win 20 games. I don't see how it correlates. If we keep both picks but Noah Penda's stash and then we take Kalkbrenner, it makes a little more sense. But I don't know about the stash part. That's the kind of. And then if that is the case, is there something I don't know, from watching film and listening to other people converse about, what they've seen, whether they've met him and things like that. Is that enough to where, we can bring him over and, he'll play? I don't know. Maybe they've seen something I haven't. Maybe they've seen the work. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where, not being in the loop, of course, I don't know. Because to me, he looks like he can come over and obviously develop under a team and get, spare minutes here and there, and then, slowly develop into a solid NBA player. But to keep him over there, I think maybe you just want to rather him have that high, the French league is nothing to be ashamed of. It's a pretty good league. So maybe you want him over there as opposed to G League. I don't know. That's kind of the business aspect of it, about how you view it all. So we'll see. And Jameer Watkins is the last one. I really, really like Jameer Watkins. Can I go back here? I really like from Florida State. There was talk of him coming out last year, but 4-year player, really 5-year player. Is it 1, 2, 3? Yeah, but I think he had an injury here. Either way, what I like about Jameer Watkins is defensive intensity. There's a lot of switchability for him. He's 6'7". Florida State has a history of just getting out these kind of guys, and I think he's just another one in that role. I think he did pretty good at the combine. As you can see, he scored. One thing Florida State has done in the past is have 6 men go on to the NBA and get drafted top 5 because of measurables and whatnot. He was more far from a 6th man. He was the engine for this team, and I think he did a really good job at it. The shooting, you obviously are concerned about, but his attempts almost doubled, so I could see that why I dropped down. It's not like it was super high anyway, but I obviously would prefer 34% over the 32%. But there's a lot about his game to like. Really, just the defense I really, really enjoy, and then obviously I think that he has some scoring ability too at the rim. So I think that's going to be good for us. But anyway, let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. Honestly, there are other guys I probably could talk about, but I was more so thinking about the 34, 35 guys. Not all of the players I named are necessarily my top 34, 35 guys, but for the Hornets, you have to, you can reach on one of them. So if some of those guys kind of slid in there, just guys I like, just guys I simply like, and I think they could have value to this team right away. But let me know what your thoughts are. There's plenty of other players, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. I just released a Mark Williams video where I briefly discussed that trade, and then obviously this will come out. So you're probably getting 2 videos today before the draft. I might even go live during the second round, at least during the Hornets picks. We'll see, because trying to upload the videos while the draft is going is hard, just because of the fact that YouTube takes forever to. So I might go live. We'll see. But once again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.